The drunkards of Ephraim are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. They're drunk on the Antichrist spirit of error, the spirit of deep sleep, the strong delusion that Yah gives to those who receive not the love of the truth. Which means they won't obey the refreshing of the Holy Covenant. They can't hear it. That's what Isaiah 28 says about the drunkards of Ephraim. This is the refreshing of the covenant, yet they would not hear it, because they received not the love of the Spirit of truth. The truth is that you've got to keep the refreshed covenant. Luke 1:72, the Messiah is going to come and perform the mercy, which is ending sacrificial law, putting his blood on the mercy seat, and remembering, refreshing the holy covenant given at Horeb. Acts 3, if you don't listen to the Messiah and what he taught, you're going to be destroyed from among your people. And they're quoting Deuteronomy 18. That's why the Messiah says, go and learn of me. What did Moses say about me? Because if you don't believe Moses, you're never going to believe me. And because you have not the refreshing of the Holy Covenant in you, the love of God, you've received Jesus, who came in his own name and told you that he nailed it to the cross, when actually Yeshua nailed the sacrificial law to the cross, the book of the law that was added because of transgression to the love of God, the 10 Commandments. The drunkards of Ephraim are drunk on pride. It is a spirit. It's a spiritual condition. Ephraim is a spiritual condition. It's referencing the people group in America in the latter days. Another way of putting it, Revelation 17 and 18. Mystery Babylon is drunk on the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And not just to single out America, although she's the hammer of all nations. There's one nation that's bordered by the sea. In Nahum 3 it says, it's bordered by the sea. It's this one nation. It leads all of the nations in fornication. Who sent their missionaries out and taught the whole world to do Christmas and Easter? Who spread Christmas and Easter? The fornication. Fornication is Ezekiel 23. It's whoredom. 2 Kings 17. Israel were booted out of their inheritance for doing what we would call modern day Christmas and Easter. It's the same gods, Baal and Ashtaroth. Baal was born on December 25th. When you worship Jesus, you are worshipping Baal. It's a spiritual, listen, all of the prophecies about God's people in the latter days, before his return, just before the Messiah returns, the whole church is going to be praying, burning incense. Burning incense is an idiom for prayer, but you've got the Great Hall, the Catholic Church, literally burning incense unto Jesus Christ. Burning incense to Baal. So they're praying in the name of Baal, claiming that they're delivered to do these abominations. What abominations? The same abomination that Israel did to get booted out of the land in the first place. That's why Paul tells you in Romans 11, never do what Israel did. And he said that because he knew you were going to. How much sorer is your punishment going to be that you've trodden underfoot the Son of God, counted the blood of the covenant an unholy thing? You cannot hear the refreshing of the covenant because you're drunk on pride. That's what Isaiah 28 is saying. And the thing about Ephraim, America, the drunkards of America, the people who love to point the finger at people for drinking literal alcohol, but say that you're saved by unmerited favour. We can't keep the 10 Commandments. We don't have to keep the 10 Commandments. But they'll command you not to say shit instead of crap. They'll command you not to drink alcohol. It doesn't make any sense. It's Romans 10. They've put aside the righteousness of God that he wrote down with his own finger and put it in the heart of the Ark of the Covenant. They've put that aside and came up with and became zealous for their own self-righteousness, which is man-made traditions like Christmas and Easter. Oh, we can do it. We're delivered by the blood of Jesus. They're saying we're delivered by the blood of Baal. Yeshua literally says, I know you have not the love of God in you, because if you had the love of God in you, which is the 10 Commandments, you would receive me, because I'm come in my Father's name. My name is Yeshua, which is Joshua, not Jesus. Matthew 12, he's accused by the Pharisees of casting demons out in the name of Baal. That means you need to go and look at all of the prophecies that the prophets are speaking of about the name of Baal, and how it's God's people in the latter days that's going to be prophesying in that name. So when the Messiah says, oh, I cast demons out in the name of Baal, then who do your children cast them out by? You know how he says that your proselytes are twice the children of hell as you? He's prophesying of the latter days. God's children are casting demons out in the name of Baal. And that's the lying signs and wonders. Lord, Lord, didn't we cast out many demons in your name? Depart from me. You didn't even know my name because you wouldn't keep the 10 Commandments. I cast demons out by the finger of God. That's Yeshua's words, not my words. He's saying you're falling for the lying signs and wonders. I cast demons out by the finger of God, which is the 10 Commandments that I came to remember and refresh and teach to the Gentiles. Because Israel was scattered into the Gentiles. But instead of listening to Paul in Romans 11, where he said, don't do the same thing that Israel did in 2 Kings 17 to get divorced from God, and be like Jacob, where iniquity is turned from Jacob, and Jacob isn't like Mystery Babylon who do Christmas and Easter, because iniquity is turned from him, because he gets convicted by the grace of God, which is conviction. Messiah died and gave us an exceeding amount of the Spirit of grace, which is how the Gentiles are able to wake up, and then they surname themselves Israel. They call themselves Jacob. That's Isaiah 44. That's really what Ephesians 2 is saying. They're going to spring up like the grass out of the Gentiles and keep the covenants of promise. And then once they keep the covenants, they're no longer Gentiles. It's as simple as that, really. The elect, Jacob, who are 12,000 from, I'm trying to put this in a good way. Jacob is 12,000 from each tribe of Israel. Why is Ephraim not a part of the 144,000? Because he doesn't rule with the free woman. He was called, read Judges 12, he was called, but he's not caught up to the throne, and he's asking why. Why am I in great tribulation? That's what Ephraim's going to do. But it's because he didn't take the calling when he was first asked. He turned from the battle at the gate. The elect, Jacob, the 144,000, that doesn't include Ephraim, they turn the battle to the gate and stand in controversy and in judgment and tell people like Ephraim not to do the feasts. That's Ezekiel 22 and 44, by the way, that the elect are going to stand in judgment and teach the difference between the holy and the profane. That's Jubilee 6. That's a bit of a sidetrack, but that is so relevant. Hosea 8. Because Ephraim has made many altars to sin, Christmas and Easter, altars shall remain unto him to sin. He counted the great things of God's law, his instruction, as a strange thing. They sacrifice, I'm trying to remember, I haven't read it in a while. They sacrifice the sacrifice of my offerings and they eat it, his holy feasts. See, they're not making difference between the holy and the profane. God took away the feast. He took away the calendar. We can't do the feast. You don't do the feast outside of your inheritance. And this is not our inheritance. The people in Babylon right now, Ephraim in Babylon, the Torah movement, are literally saying, we have our inheritance. Some people are saying that America is his promised land. The pride. It's insane. But that's the thing. They turned from the battle at the gate. They were called, but they didn't choose. So they're going to go into great tribulation. And that's the main thing that you need to get about Ephraim. It's you're going to see all the way through the prophets that there's places mentioned from the Middle East. You're going to hear Ephraim, well, Babylon even. Peter's talking to the elect at Babylon. But Babylon had been destroyed before then. Stephen replaces Damascus for Babylon. How do you figure that? Babylon was destroyed because he knows it's spiritual. You can replace Damascus with Babylon because it's an end times prophecy. I've run out of time.